Ladies and gentlemen, so we got Mobile Gamer on the channel today. Check out his video because he did a weekly roundup of like 9 posts in one video that we just covered. So check it out over there. We have Mobile Gamer on today.
We covered a 2-hour blog and like 15 posts in 20 minutes. Like
20 minutes, pretty impressive.
If you don't know what's going on with the game, watch that video because it's got everything in 20 minutes. I don't think we could have done it any faster, too.
No.
My goodness, there's so much info.
Shameless plug right there.
This week has been crazy. Like, they don't talk to us, and then we get like 2 posts a day for a week. Maybe like 3.
I gotta say, I feel like this happens every year. Last year, we also had a period where it felt like the game was pretty slow, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 you're being hit by thing after thing after thing, and we're definitely being hit by a lot of stuff, and I'm loving it. This is the content I love to hear, I love to talk about, I love to see in this game.
Excited.
Yes.
I'm actually hyped about the game right now. I really am.
I am too. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been really hyped about the game, and what we're going to talk about today, when you connect all that news that we got last week and the podcast we broke down as well, we have to talk about a couple major things here. And Mobile Gamer, he's going to go up against the Shaak T lineup I left on defense. And before we get to what we're going to talk about first in regards to what's coming into the future, what do you think about Shaak T? You're showing, obviously, the power of Shaak T right now with Memphis Nest, but what are your overall thoughts on Shaak T?
Well, they alluded to in the podcast that there was going to be another character, right?
Yeah.
And
well, something might not be a character, but there's a nesting doll.
They worded things really funny, but it made it seem to me that there was going to be something else. And first of all, if you have clones lying around, she does make them useful. But, you know, we're not talking about, like, Padme or Grievous. Like, I think if you're working on Padme or Grievous, I would...
Much more important.
Or the Revens, of course. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, if you're done with all of those, I think that there's a place for her. Okay, but this is the problem that I have with Shaak T is that, you know, can't beat Nest, can't beat Malik. You're just a bunch of teams that you can't beat.
Yeah, so that's the thing. They could beat some things, but I wouldn't even consider them a tier 2 team in the game right now. I think a tier 3 is probably more where they.
Well, give a context to that. Tier 1 is going to be the Revens.
So tier 0 would be
CLS and
both
Traya
Revens. Yeah, tier 1 would be CLS, Traya, General Grievous. Tier 2 would be like First Order, Bounty Hunters, Night Sisters, and then tier 3 would be things like the Clone Troopers, for example. I mean, they're a good faction. They do beat some things. They're missing stuff. And that's why I want to start this video off right here, because in the podcast, Carrie had a fun conversation with the Escape podcast. And when they got to the conversation of Shaak T, she brought up how there's a nesting egg thing they do, or nesting doll thing, where they release Anakin's rework, but no Zeta. Then later on, Padme and the Zeta came around. And there's probably another element to Padme and Anakin later on. They brought the same thing for Shaak T, because they are missing... Oh, wow! Look at that! Now look at that, Clone Sergeant. Clone Sergeant's the big MVP in the Shaak T lineup.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to you, but that was fun.
That was fun to watch. I love Clone Sergeant. I think he's necessary for this clone team, but they're still missing some stuff.
We're going up against another team that doesn't have Clone Sergeant. Do the same thing.
There we go.
We'll see how that goes, right?
So, what do you think is missing on a Shaak T lineup? Because if we are going to read between her lines and see that something is going to be coming later on that makes her and the clones important, what do you think is missing for them? I have a thought, but what are your thoughts?
Boy, it's funny that you asked that. It seems to be that they're susceptible to being dispelled. So if they had something that was not dispellable, boy, that's a double negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something that couldn't be cleansed, that'd be interesting.
Like a lock buff or something, or a lock debuff.
Yeah, it's just, and I actually what I think is they need an intermittent taunting tank is what they need. Yes. So I mean, I think 5s is fine, but they really need a way of, when this happens, this automatically happens type of taunt in some way is what I think. You know, where like if a character drops below, even like a Royal Guard mechanic, like if a character dropped below 50%, because they can actually dip down and they creep back up very easily. And so that would be an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed, and I don't feel like they're healing enough. I don't feel like the Zeta, the leadership of Shaak T, helps them heal as much. I mean, look, Ness is healing so much more frequently than Shaak T. I mean, there is a little bit of health protection regeneration, but I feel like it's not quite enough. So I think you definitely a better taunting tank, because 5s is a cute little interaction, but it's not a long enough taunt. It gets dispelled very easily, or you can get around it. And then once he loses his taunt, he's not that useful at all, really in there. That's why this lineup we're fighting against is my personal favorite. So a taunting, like a shore trooper kind of thing, I think would be perfect for where they are right now.
Yeah.
And
going up some other way of taunting, or even the way Grievous taunts. That's fun. Or sign. There's intermittent taunt. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say something that where you don't have to press a button for it to taunt. It's just something that happens automatically.
Yeah. So, an automatic taunt. And there's a lot of, if we're going to assume that there's going to be new clone troopers coming, there's like few things where you can literally add thousands of stuff and still not be done. Clone troopers and Imperial troopers are one of those things where there are just so many divisions. You have ranging from the Navy, for example. You have all these pilots that you can dip into, because this is going to lead into our second point eventually too regarding ship content. We don't really have like a galactic or like a clone pilot or anything like that. So they can add things like clone pilot, or like I'm reading a list right here: the 181st Armored Division, the 18th Battalion, the 14th Infantry Brigade, Domino Squad,
or just heavy.
So many things.
Just a heavy.
Just heavy. Or Kix, or whatever his name was, Kit, I think he was on Domino Squad too. I can't remember off the top of my head what division he belonged in. So I think that's something we could definitely keep our eyes peeled for factions can get way better in the future. I would think they're going to do a rework on them. And this kind of leads into the next point, probably the big point of the video that you guys are here for. If you guys recall, by the way, how do you feel about the Negotiator capital ship coming to Galaxy of Heroes?
Whoa, about time? I don't know. The ships is horrible right now, and there's been no new capital ship in 2 years. It's just like yes, more, please.
I hope they triple down on ship content to transform it into something else, because it's such a stale thing. How do you only get one new capital ship in the scope of almost 3 years of this thing?
I mean, I think there were a lot of complaints about the Jedi Knight Revan meta. I think climbing from 50 every day to 1, every single team the same, knowing you can win, but you just have to do it, is not that much fun. Everybody can beat everybody, and it's just it's tedious, and it's basically the Hans Falcon and Houndstooth. That's it.
Let me throw this out here. Besides that, the other reason why I'm very excited for new ship content, because I was not a heavy investor in Rebels. I was not, but if they release, well, they are going to release the Negotiator capital ship. I have a lot of Galactic Republic ready. I have all my clones of 5 stars. I have Ahsoka, Gear 12. I have all my Ahsokas and Anakins to Gear 12. I have their ships farmed. So I would actually be way more prepared for a Galactic Republic fleet versus a Rebel fleet. So I'm excited about that just for that regard. Ships is definitely the stalest content for me in the game so far, but I think they're going to improve it quite drastically. And in the podcast, there's hints that the Malevolence will be coming eventually too, and we'll talk a bit about that. But the thing I want to point out the most, very specific verbiage and wordage in the Negotiator post. And do you know what I'm alluding to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was that fake leak. I don't know if it was a real leak or not a leak. We're talking about General Kenobi, right? Or Master Kenobi. Kenobi.
Master Kenobi. So, yeah, this is a while ago. A couple weeks ago, there was an alleged leak.
They don't specify what Kenobi. I mean, it could be a different Kenobi.
Yes. All they said is that you may have heard Obi-Wan Kenobi called the Negotiator. So, and General Grievous, he actually calls in episode 3, he calls Kenobi, oh, it's the Negotiator. So that's the thing that's up in the air right now. And this isn't too far off the truth, because there's already art assets created for a Master Kenobi. We've been talking about this for at least years, 2 years at least. Talk about Master Kenobi, because when you go to the splash screen, I sound like a broken record player at this point. You see Master Kenobi kind of hidden back there with Kenobi and all these other characters. So the question is, do you think a Master Kenobi could be coming to the game soon? It makes a lot of sense. Plus, they said the Negotiator ship itself, we're not going to see much about it until a couple weeks at least. So do you think between now and the release of the Negotiator, they could drop a Master Kenobi? He's a legendary character, in my opinion, not marquee, I think.
Right. No, and it wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like Padme was a requirement. That'd be kind of fun.
Padme, Anakin, or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Sign you up. Right. And here's the thing, because I know there's been some debate after the Q&A forum post about whether or not there will be any sort of Anakin fall to the dark side, which I hope they do that. There's some wordage they used that made it seem like that it's not going to happen. Hopefully that's not the case. Maybe we're looking in it too much. But maybe there's a possibility that Anakin will be needed for a legendary, and it might just be a Master Kenobi legendary. That could be. Could be. It could be what it is.
I think part of that discussion was too is like, well, technically he was called Darth Vader when he was doing all that stuff, so maybe they just call it Vader's fall. I think Dev actually said something about it, because when Palpatine crowns him as Vader, if that's the right word, this is before he starts slaughtering the Tusken or the younglings rather, and all that stuff, right? the high ground and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, because some people were thrown off by I got to find the exact wordage that they use here, but some people were thrown off by their the words they use and that their answer, because it made it seem like, oh, Fallen Anakin won't happen. Maybe it will happen. It just won't be called Fallen Anakin. It could be Darth Vader Risen or something like that, or Vader Born, or something of that sort. So I'm hoping if they don't add a Fallen Anakin, I think they're not capitalizing on this whole Clone Wars content that as much as they should. But at the very minimum, I think a Master Kenobi is bound to happen for this game. And between the Negotiator ship and also that alleged leak that there's some questions as to its the legitimacy of that screenshot, but it makes sense that a Master Kenobi could come at some point. Order 66 event would sound cool, and plus all this clone love and probably more potential clone love in the future, I think it's quite possible we could be seeing that as well. So we wanted to put those two things out there because I think that it makes a lot of sense right now. Oh man, but other than that, I'm excited for whatever's coming, whether it's new clone troopers, whether it's reworks for the clone troopers. Obviously, Geonosians are getting a lot of Geonosian reworks coming, new Separatist characters, Negotiator, Grievous's Bloodlands, and we didn't even talk about new Separatist ships. We can get Vulture droids and so many other things that'll lead up to that. So I don't know, this is definitely one of the most exciting periods for myself and Galaxy Heroes, and we're just getting started. So,
I think we're going to have Clone Wars all the time up until the fall, which I'm all about.
Can I get one request before we close out this video? We've seen an original trilogy meta. We've seen a Knights of the Old Republic meta. We've seen a sequel meta. Can I get a Clone Wars meta? Can we get a Clone Wars meta? I'm talking Separatist versus Galactic Republic or something of that sort. That's what I want to see in this game.
You know, the cadence for that to happen is that all the people that missed Malak the first time around, they need to get Malak, and then as soon as they're done gearing Malak, that's when they need the new meta.
They do. That's how they do it.
Just when you finally get it, they're going to destroy it.
It's like, oh, you got your Jedi Knight Revan. They did keep Jedi Knight Revan relevant for quite a while, even after the second time around.
Why when you get your Malak, it's over.
Yeah, right when you get your Malak, it's over.
Right when you get the second time around Malak, as soon as you get your Malak for the second time around and geared up and ready to go,
don't worry, you can still use Darth Malak in the back wall of Grand Arena, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Padme team with Master Kenobi. I think it's
that's what I want to get.
That's what I think.
Yeah, Padme is so close to being Grievous and Padme are both so close to being perfected to something bigger. They just need like one more character to take them over the edge. And I think especially Padme, Master Kenobi, is what's missing in that like fifth slot that we're trying to figure out right now. And Grievous is the same thing. One more character. Who knows? Wat Tambor. Maybe that'll be it. Who knows? We'll take him to a whole other level. I'm excited. A lot of cool stuff. Guys, comment down below on your thoughts. What do you think of everything you heard in this video and all the other news that we've been talking about over the past week? And a lot more stuff is probably coming down the pipes, guys. We haven't even got the new stuff yet. We're just talking about it. So a lot of stuff happening. Check out Mobile Gamers channel. Like, comment, subscribe to both of our stuffs. And we will talk again very soon. Give them a peace out.
Can I just say one thing before we go?
Yes.
Brian Johnson did nothing wrong.